one cylinder head. Probably ought to get that igniter out of the way. Was tight enough. Igniter. Probably should say something about this igniter. If you'll notice, immediately it's sooted up, quite sooted, but it's in the open position. There's actually a gap between those points right there. And the way that works, when you trip the mag, so to speak, it'll be bolted to the engine just like that. And the push rod comes up there and trips that, and it slides off with that slider upper thing there. But you can see that's open. And when that push rod comes up there, it closes that. And then when it trips off, it opens again. That's the way an igniter's supposed to work. Now the ones that are set up for a magneto only, these will be closed. So you can set your igniter up either way. If you have it set up the other way and you run it on a coil and a battery, most of the time your coil will get hot because this remains in circuit until it trips. Look it up. It's in the book. The points, if we open them up and look at them, I can see a very small contact point right there, a small little burnt place. And also up here, that's sooted up all the way across except one small contact right there where it's been fired. Those points, and when you push them together, when you make contact, I can readily see that they're not matched up. Well, it's only touching right there where it's fired. So we'll set that right. I think we'll put a new set of contacts on there. And also too, when I started this engine, I noticed that it was smoking in this area. I'm not sure if that was from the gasket or from this. That's a honed surface right in yonder. This movable shaft is actually a honed fit to that housing right there. That seems to be pretty, well, I think, well, that needs work. Needs work. The gasket will secure us another gasket there, you know, cut you on, save a little money, and do a better job in most cases. That gasket was the correct thickness, and it's got some sealer on it there. I think that was a good gasket. I don't think it was a leaking around this gasket. I think it was a leaking around that shaft. Might as well to look down in there. Down in the hole there looks good. It looks as good as can be looking at this point. Sooted up, carbon soot. The mixer, might as well to look at that mixer. because I think I'll show you something. Well, let's get the mixer off and then I'll show you something. Oh, it ain't that size. Oh man, that was tight. Yeah, so was that. Really tight. Okay, break her apart. Everything looks good there. Looking up yonder to see the spring, it's in there, the spring. This one does have the gasoline flapper in it. Seems to work pretty good. It's not too tight, not too loose. Looks in good shape. It'll probably be all right there. And gasket, little sealer there, little sealer there. And the mixer itself. Now this engine, when it was new, would have been a kerosene engine. That bottom gasket down there is hard. It's brittle, hard as can be, and it shows no indication that it was sealing good. It's wet, damp, no sealer or nothing on it. It actually feels like it's a piece of something hard. It don't feel like a gasket. Somebody must have made that out of a piece of something else. And look down in yonder to observe the flapper in the governor. That looks good, and it really seals up in there really good. Now I do see some rust right around through there, which is not supposed to be there. It's new rust. We'll clean that up. And it's supposed to have water in there. The original engine, like I say, was a kerosene engine. It could be, even up to today, it could be kerosene. But you would have a water. You would have a water. Somebody put a plug in there. You'd have a water inlet here that would go down there to the drain on the ceiling, on the water hopper. And it would have been a fitting in here, a copper tube would come down 1/4 inch size, and a special fitting on the bottom down there. I don't have one of those, but I will plumb all of this back up correctly when we put it back together. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We'll clean that up, take them out, redo the threads and all, clean that up. We'll do that. This is just kind of, and I'm not going to do this step by step. No, don't be confused that this will be a how-to-do article or anything like that. It's just solely what you'll run into when you buy an engine. When this engine right here, I'll show you something. When I've started this engine 3 or 4 times to kind of get a feel of what it needed to be worked on. But right here's the pointer, and let's put us a mark right here so you can see that. Okay, to run this engine, you only open up the needle valve 1/4 inch. That's that much. Okay, the reason for that, I think, is, I'll show you something. When you take that needle valve out of there, you see how short of a taper that is. It's really dubbed off. That needle valve, from where the taper starts to the end of it, should be twice as long as this one. It needs a long taper. What happens is when you have a short taper and you open it up a little bit, you get a lot of flow. With a long taper, you don't get as much flow for some reason, and I can see the shiny place there is about halfway on that needle valve, which if you look down in yonder, I think that, well, looking down in this end right here, I can see that opening in there is it's about normal size. So I'll probably just put another needle valve in there, and nothing wrong with this one here. You just don't open this engine right here. If you were going to start this engine normally, you would open that up about half a turn, which would put that over here. A full turn would bring it all the way back there. But if you open this one up, that's a quarter of a turn, and that's a half a turn. So you're only opening this up, what, an eighth or whatever it figures out. But the way these operate, this chamber right here is a chamber by itself. Whatever is in the fuel tank comes in this line right here, comes in there and fills that chamber up, and it spills over that little spillway right there. That's the level of the fuel in this bowl when the engines are running, either kerosene or gas would be that level, and it spills over here, and this is the drain back to the gas tank or fuel tank, kerosene. The way you would start the engine is fill up. This big chamber right here gets full of gasoline. You would open up this needle valve, and you would start the engine, and when the engine runs out this much gasoline, you would close this and open this one. At that point, it would start burning kerosene. If you're going to put gasoline in the fuel tank, then you would not use this side over here at all. You would solely rely on this one. When you get ready to start it, you just open this up as normal, because you've got gasoline to start the engine. You'd never use this one. And this is the water inlet. It comes up through this. There's a check valve in the bottom of this mixer that corresponds with the hole in the head there.